Hey, MCS Jets, anyone else listening? It is still May 10th, 2019. And just like I said, I'm about to read to you from Dr. Doolittle. We have 2 chapters left, so it's pretty short. So I may get them all knocked out here, and then I get to start thinking about what our next book adventure may be. Or maybe I'll be doing some poetry. I'm not sure what I'll find. But I'll be finding it on the internet, and I'll be using things where the copyright is expired. You can always go read stuff on Gutenberg.org. It has all the children's books that are no longer under copyright, and it's free to the public for anyone else to read. And Dr. Doolittle is one of those. I'm just reading from the book because actually the real book is a lot thicker than this, and it's a lot longer than this. I've been reading the junior edition. But I would like to get it finished. I would like to be able to say that I've completed a book before the year is out. So let's go ahead, and you're just going to see my face. I can once in a while do that and show you a video, like what the pictures look like. But you're just going to get me reading a book. So let's get started. Chapter 17, The Fisherman's Town. Gently, then very gently, the doctor woke the man up. But at that moment, the match went out. The man thought it was Ben Ali, the Barbary dragon, coming back, and he began to punch at the doctor in the dark. But when John Doolittle told him who it was and that he had his little nephew safe on a ship, the man was tremendously glad. He said he was sorry he had punched at the doctor. He had not hurt him much, though, because it was too dark to punch properly. Then he gave the doctor a peppermint, because that's how they found him. Remember, Jip, the dog, found the smell of peppermints on the sea winds. And the man told how the Barbary dragon had put him onto this rock and left him there when he wouldn't promise to become a pirate. He had slept down in the hole because there was no house on the rock to keep him warm. And then he said, "For 4 days I have had nothing to eat or drink. I have lived on peppermint tablets." "There you are," said Jip. "What did I tell you?" So they struck some more matches and made their way out through the tunnel into the daylight. Then the doctor hurried the man down to the boat to get some soup. When the animals and the little boy saw the doctor and Jip coming back to the ship with a red-headed man, they began to cheer and yell and dance about the boat. And the swallows up above started whistling at the top of their voices. The noise they made was so great that sailors far out at sea thought there was a terrible storm coming. "Hark to that wind howling in the east," they said. And Jip was awfully proud of himself, though he tried hard not to look stuck up. When Dab came to him and said, "Jip, I had no idea you were so clever," he just tossed his head and answered, "Oh, that's nothing special. But it takes a dog to find a man, you know. Birds are no good for a game like that." Then the doctor asked the red-haired fisherman where his home was, and when he had told him, the doctor asked the swallows to guide the ship there first. They came at last to the fisherman's land. There they saw a little fishing town at the foot of a rocky mountain. The man pointed out the house where he lived. And while they were letting down the anchor, the little boy's mother, who was also the man's sister, came running down to the shore to meet them, laughing and crying at the same time. She had been sitting on a hill for 20 days, watching the sea and waiting for them to return. And she kissed the doctor many times, so they giggled and blushed. And she tried to kiss Jip, too, but he ran away and hid inside the ship. It's funny. The fisherman and his sister didn't want the doctor to go away again in a hurry. They begged him to spend a few days with them. So John Doolittle and his animals had to stay at their house a whole Saturday and Sunday and half of Monday. And there's a sister running down the hill to see her son and her brother. And all the little boys of the fishing village went down to the beach and pointed at the great ship. They said to one another in whispers, "Look, that was a pirate ship, Ben Ali's, and the most terrible pirate that ever sailed the 7 seas. That old gentleman with the high hat, he took the ship away from the Barbary dragon. He made that pirate into a birdseed farmer. Look at that great red sails. Ain't she a grand ship and fast? My!" All this time in the little fishing town, the people kept asking him out to teas and dinners and parties. All the ladies sent him boxes of flowers and candies, and the village band played tunes under his window every night. At last the doctor said, "Good people, I must go home now. You have really been most kind. I shall always remember it. But I must go home, for I have things to do." Then, just as the doctor was about to leave, the mayor of the town came down the street, and a lot of other people in grand clothes with him. The mayor stopped before the house where the doctor was staying. Everybody in the village gathered around to see what was going to happen. 6 boys blew on shining trumpets to make the people stop talking. Then the doctor came out onto the steps, and the mayor said, "Dr. John Doolittle, it is a great pleasure for me to present to the man who rid the seas of the dragon of Barbary this little token from the grateful people of our town." The mayor opened a tissue paper packet and handed it to the doctor. It was a beautiful watch with real diamonds in the back. Then the mayor pulled something else from his pocket. "Where is the dog?" he said. Then everybody started to hunt for Jip. And at last, Dab Dab, the duck, I don't know if you remember, but it's the duck, found him on the other side of the village in the stable yard. There all the dogs of the countryside were standing around him speechless with great respect. Jip was brought to the doctor's side. A great murmur of wonder went up from the village folk as the mayor bent down and fastened a dog collar made of solid gold around Jip's neck. Written on the collar in the big letters were these words. Let's see if I can show it. Jip, the cleverest dog in the world. And there's a picture, both pages, of everyone in the village. Then the whole crowd moved down to the beach to see them off. The red-haired fisherman and his sister and the little boy had thanked the doctor and his dog over and over and over again. Then the great swift ship with the red sails was turned once more towards Puddleby, and they sailed out to sea while the village band played music on the shore. That is the end of chapter 17. We have one last chapter, and I'm going to read it in the very next video. All right, I'm coming back at you. It is a pretty short chapter, so it should be a pretty short book. I'll see you in a minute.